E.N.D here. Strixhaven spoiler season finally kicked in. All started with Wizard of the Coast Strixhaven School of Mages campus tour. If you didn't follow that video, I recommend you give it a look. We'll leave a link in the description below. Strixhaven is the elite school of Magic the Gathering, which can be found on the plane of Arcavius, a totally new plane in the multiverse. Founded by 5 elder dragons 700 years ago. It consists of 5 colleges, all enemy colors: Lorehold, red and white; Prismari, red and blue; Quadrix, blue and green; Silverquail, black and white; and Witterbloom, black and green. In the middle of Strixhaven there is the Biblioplex, the library which holds all the magic spells in the multiverse, including the mystical archives. Let's start our day 1 spoiler. Kasmina Enigma Sage. This card was spoiled a couple of days ago. This is the borderless version of that particular card. Professor Onyx, another card spoiled a couple of days ago. This is the borderless version of the Planeswalker Liliana, that is Professor Onyx. And both cards, Kasmina and Professor Onyx, are gorgeous cards in this particular borderless version. New Planeswalker card, ROWAN and Will. This is a model double-faced Planeswalker card. So on one side you can cast ROWAN Scholar of Sparks, 2 and 1 red, 2 loyalty counters. Instants and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. +1, it deals 1 damage to each opponent if you've drawn 3 or more cards this turn. She deals 3 damage to each opponent instead. -4, you get an emblem with: whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may pay 2. If you do, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for that copy. Model double face card, you can play ROWAN on one side or you can play Will on the other side. Will, Scholar of Frost, 4 and 1 blue, 4 loyalty counters. Instants and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. +1, up to 1 target creature has base power and toughness 0-2 until your next turn. -3, draw 2 cards. -7, exile up to 5 targets permanents. For each permanent exiled this way, its controller creates a 4/4 blue-red elemental creature token. We have more mystical archive cards spoiled. Duress, which is an uncommon; Lightning Bolt, which is a rare; Time Warp, which is a mythic. And we have also the Japanese alternative art of these 3 cards, and I really love the Duress artwork. The new land cycle for Strixhaven. We have these SNARLS. Necro Blossom Snarl will come into play as tapped unless you reveal a swamp or forest in this case, and will tap for a black and a green. We'll have 5 SNARLS, all of them will tap for the enemy colors. The Buy a Box promo, Dragon's Guard Elite. You can have the normal standard version of the card in your set, or you can pre-order your Strixhaven booster boxes from your LGS and have this gorgeous extended art version of Dragon's Guard Elite. For 1 and 1 green, it's a 2/2 Human Root Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, put a +1/+1 counter on it. 4 and 2 green, double those counters. If you don't know how to play Magecraft, I will do a video tutorial about this particular new mechanic. Eager First Year, 1 and 1 white, it's a 2/2 Magecraft. It gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Pop Quiz, 2 and 1 blue, instant, draw a card, and it has Learn a new mechanic. I'm going to do another tutorial about this particular new mechanic. Waterfall Earliest, 3 and 1 blue, it's a 3/1 flying, ward 2. First Day of Class, 1 and 1 red, it's an instant. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on it and gain haste until end of turn. It has also Learn. Pest Summoning, 1 and 2 hybrid between green and black. Sorcery, it has Lesson. Create 2 1/1 black-green pest creature tokens with: when this creature dies, you gain 1 life. Expanded Anatomy, 3, also a sorcery lesson. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature, it gains vigilance until end of turn. Introduction to Annihilation, 5, sorcery lesson. Exile target non-land, its controller, draw a card. Introduction to Prophecy, 3, sorcery lesson. Scry 2, then draw a card. Professor of Symbology, 1 and 1 white, it's a 2/1 core cleric. Enters the battlefield, you learn. Stormclean Artist, 3 and 1 red, it's a 2/2, gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control, and has also Magecraft, and you will create a treasure token. Lorehold Apprentice, 1 red and 1 white, it's a 2/2 Magecraft. Until end of turn, spirits you control gain tap. This creature deals 1 damage to each opponent. Witherbloom Apprentice, 1 black and 1 green, it's a 2/2, also has Magecraft. Each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Quadrix Apprentice, 1 green and 1 blue, it's a 2/2 Magecraft. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, you may reveal a land card and put it into your hand. Prismari Apprentice, 1 blue and 1 red, it's a 2/2 Magecraft. Can't be blocked this turn. If the spell mana value is 5 or greater, get a +1/+1 counter. Silverquill Apprentice, 1 white and 1 black, it's a 2/2 Magecraft. Target creature get +1/+0 until end of turn. Confront the past, X and 1 black. This is a lesson. Choose 1, return target planeswalker card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Remove twice X loyalty counters from target planeswalker and opponent controls. I really love the artwork of this card where we have Liliana looking at the mirror and seeing Gideon saving her in War of the Spark. Plarg, Dean of Chaos, 1 and 1 red, it's a 2/2 legendary creature Orc Shaman. This is a model double face card. Tap, discard a card, draw a card. 4 and 1 red, tap, reveal cards from top of your library until you reveal a non-legendary non-land card with mana value 3 or less. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Put all revealed cards not cast this way on the bottom of your library in random order. Model double fair card. You can play Plarg or you can play Augusta, Dean of Order. 2 and 1 white, it's a 1/3. Other tapped creatures you control get +1/+0. Other untapped creatures you control get +0/+1. Whenever you attack, untap each creature you control, then tap any number of creatures you control. Another model double face legendary creature, Uvilda, Dean of Perfection, 2 and 1 blue, it's a 2/2. Tap, you may exile an instant or sorcery card from your hand and put 3 home counters on it. It gains at the beginning of your upkeep. If this card is exiled, remove a home counter on it, and when the last home counter is removed, you can cast it and it costs 4 less to cast it this way. Nasari, Dean of Expression, 3 and 2 red, it's a 4/4. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of each opponent's library. Until end of turn, you may cast that spell. Whenever you cast a spell from exile, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Valentin, Dean of the Vein, for 1 black, it's a 1/1 menace lifelink. If a non-token creature opponent controls would die, exile it instead. When you do, you may pay 2. If you do, create a 1/1 black-green pest creature token with. When this creature dies, you gain 1 life. Lisette, Dean of the Root, 2 and 2 green, it's a 4/4. Whenever you gain life, you may pay 1. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Creatures you control and those creatures gain trample until end of turn. Another model double face card, Kanne, Dean of Substance, 2 and 1 green, it's a 2/2. Tap, exile top card of your library. If it's a land, put it into your hand, otherwise put a study counter on it. 4 and 1 green, create a 0/0 green-blue fractal creature token, put a +1/+1 counter on it for each different mana value among non-land cards you own in exile with study counters on it. Ibram, Dean of Terry, 2 and 2 blue, it's a 3/3 flying X and 2 blue. Tap, exile the top X cards of your library and put a static counter on each of them. Then you may put a card you own in exile with a static counter on it into your hand. Shaile, Dean of Radiance, 1 and 1 white, it's a 1/1 flying vigilance. Tap, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature that enters the battlefield under your control this turn. Ambrose, Dean of Shadow, 2 and 2 black, it's a 4/4. Tap, put a +1/+1 counter on another target creature. Then Ambrose, Dean of Shadow, deals 2 damage to that creature. Whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter dies, draw a card. Torrent Sculptor, 2 and 2 blue, it's a 2/2 War 2. Enters the battlefield, exile an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. Put a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to half that card's mana value rounded up. Flamethrower Sonata, 1 and 1 red, it's a sorcery. Discard a card, then draw a card. When you discard an instant or sorcery card this way, it deals damage equal to that card's mana value to target creature or planeswalker you don't control. Last card spoiled for today, Shadrix Silverquill. This is one of those Elder Dragon that founded Strixhaven. 3, 1 white and 1 black, it's a 2/5 flying double strike. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may choose 2. Each mode must target a different player. Target player creates a 2/1 white and black inkling creature token with flying. Target player draw a card and loses 1 life. Target player put a +1/+1 counter on each creature they control. Tune in tomorrow for more and more spoilers of Strixhaven, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.